Hi, everybody. Welcome to the first edition of InnoNurse Recap, which is a video series about different challenges in health tech and the healthcare environment. So I'm with Danielle Ciari. You might know her as InnoNurse. She's a nursing informaticist, health tech expert, social media ambassador, and many other good things. So, hi Danielle, how are you today?
Great, I appreciate that. Thank you for the introduction.
Perfect. So, today we're going to talk about VR, AR, MR, especially in the medical field. So for those who don't know, VR stands for virtual reality, AR stands for augmented reality, and MR, mixed reality. So let's get started. According to you, what's the difference between VR, AR, and MR?
The big difference with virtual reality, it uses all of your senses. They're involved to place you in um, this virtual environment. So your senses are all involved. Next, with augmented reality, you only have goggles, but you have a glove as well, and it you can see the outside person can see this virtual world as well as the person wearing the goggles. So it's a mix of virtual reality and real life. Mixed reality is a hybrid of the two mixed together.
Perfect. So, what are some of the applications of these technologies in the medical field?
The biggest that I've seen at this point is using in hospital setting, whether it's rehabilitation or a convalescent hospital. Uh, I recently did a trip to Oslo, Norway. I was able to attend a conference there, and we visited a hospital called Sonos out on an island out away from Oslo. And at this rehabilitation hospital, their patient population is a mix of traumatic injuries, brain injuries, stroke, car accidents. So a lot of these patients, maybe it's the first time they've been hospitalized, and they're trying to regain as much of their health and momentum. At this facility, they use virtual reality and augmented reality to try to transport the patient to another environment, as well as if you have PTSD or different phobias, you can use these tools to place someone in that environment virtually versus physically placing someone there. If someone's afraid of, planes or snakes or spiders or agoraphobic, afraid of leaving the house. These tools are used. They also did gamification with different, say, an Xbox or a Wii, doing physical therapy, occupational therapy with the therapist one on one, and kind of competing against the therapist and competing against other patients to get the high score.
So, what are some of the main benefits for the patients?
Main benefits for the patient is being able to care for the patient's mentation, being in a hospital long term, to be able to be and feel to be in a different environment to change your setting. I saw it was really beneficial. And the augmented realities for patients to use their limbs, to be able to put the glove on and to have this experience where it's physical as well as mental. Um, Having these tools enables people to kind of do care in a new technological environment, and the patients have the choice of doing traditional physical therapy, occupational therapy, or going to the gamification room.
What are some of the limitations of such technologies in the current, healthcare environment?
The limitations I could see at this point, since it's such new tools, would be cost. This particular hospital is publicly funded by the government, so they're very good stewards of the money that they receive in caring for the patients. So, in a developing nation, might not be able to afford to be able to use virtual reality or the gamification systems for physical therapy. Also, you're going to need a strong internet connection to monitor all these machines, as well as some third world countries. Electricity, continuous electricity, could be a challenge to running this type of physical therapy and occupational therapy room.
I think that's a good point, because, for example, Microsoft HoloLens starts at $3,000 for a headset, and for a health practitioner in a developing nation, that's obviously major costs. So perhaps it's going to take some time, for these technologies to become affordable.
This is true. What I've noticed in developing countries, in certain countries like India, certain countries in the continent of Africa like Mali, Zimbabwe, Ghana, a lot of these countries, they have access to mobile phones. So they're taking similar technologies for mHealth and applying them using mobile phone. So maybe in the future, that might be the way things go, for having apps or having some type of tools that can integrate with mobile phones for the patients and the practitioners.
And last question: do you think health, because obviously these technologies are going to become more popular?
Yes.
There's no doubt about that. Do you think healthcare practitioners should be proactive and start training on those? What's your opinion on that?
My opinion is that practitioners need to know that they exist, know the gist of the functions and why it's important to be aware of them, even if they can't afford to have them at their facility.
So,
If there's an economic barrier, but you still
yeah.
need the knowledge.
So, what are you going to talk about next week? What's the topic next week?
I think next week a good topic would be telehealth and telemedicine. It's something that's a popular topic, not just in the U.S. because of the change of legislation that's going that way, but also for nurse practitioners. They're able to access the Veterans Administration, so maybe implementing telehealth or telemedicine. And third, in emerging countries, they're starting to use telemedicine, like I spoke before, Mali, Zimbabwe, Ghana. There's some talk there about it in India as well.
Perfect. Well, thanks, Daniel, for your time. I'm just the voice. You don't need to care too much about me. I'm just the moderator and the facilitator. And see you guys next week.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you moderating. Thanks, everyone.